Assalamualaikum and hello. We are making some greenhouses using these milk jugs. So what you're gonna need are scissors, a marker, tape, and the bottles or milk jugs themselves. And we're gonna start off for the first step is to cut these bottles open. And you wanna start at the handle and then go around to the other side of the handle and keep a little bit of it attached. And what happens is this is gonna make like a hinge, so this way it becomes easier to manage the bottles, so we can tape them all together and everything. And keep in mind the caps, you can take those off and recycle those. We don't need to use them, keep them on. Now I am going to be making some drainage holes. So this is what I found to be easy for me. I just used the scissors and then did it on the ground so I wouldn't damage any of my tables or anything. But yeah, you can use a soldering iron if you have one. That would probably be easy too. So I started by making 4 drainage holes on the bottom of each of the bottles. If I feel that if there's too much moisture in the bottles and it's not draining well, I can go back and add more. So this is the next step. I'm going to be labeling each of the bottles with whatever seeds I'm going to be planting in each of them. In hindsight, I should have put the date, not the month and the year. I should have done the date itself. But anyway, I only did it one time in January and it was at the end, so I'll remember. But I'm putting the names in both English and Urdu because my dad is the one that manages everything. I'm his little Sioux gardener, if you may. But yeah, so this way I put the Urdu and English names of each of the seeds. This is the next step, which is filling in each of the bottles with potting mix. You don't want to use garden soil or garden mixes because those are heavier. You need something light and fluffy where the seeds will and the roots will have an easier time growing. Anyway, so just fill those all up and I'll show you what the next step is. Now I'm adding some water, and that is just to moisten the soil a little bit. And then you don't want to do this after you've added seeds because they will just move around while you water. So it's better to get it done before adding the seeds. So that's why I did that. And you just we're gonna be spreading out the seeds. I started with a little bit of seeds because I didn't know how it would go. I didn't want to do too much. This is our first time trying this method. But yeah, so once those are spread out, the next step is to add this little thin layer of soil on top. So I'd forgotten to do this earlier, but I remembered mid-process. So I'm going and doing this. This is vermiculite that I'm adding as a top layer. So it's basically soil, seed, a little thin layer of soil, and then vermiculite or perlite, whatever you have on hand. And this is added on top. I've heard that this is again a new thing I'm trying, but I've heard that it's good for keeping the moisture level good. Like, so it'll dry out on the top, but then the soil itself will remain more moist because of that top layer of vermiculite. But yeah, it's just to regulate it a little bit more. So this is the last step that you need to do, is tape it all together. Now they say it's better to use duct tape because that's a stronger hold, and then with all the sunlight and everything beating down on the bottles, you know, this tape won't last that long, but we don't need it to last forever. It just needs to. So what I ended up doing is putting on extra layers. So I did about 3 or 4 rounds around the bottle of tape. So, you know, just do where you think it's stabilized, and then the bottles won't just fly open. So these bottles have to be kept somewhere very sunny. So the sunniest spot you might have in the backyard. So that's what I'm doing, is going to the part of our yard that gets the most sunlight. That's where I'm putting it in, and then, you know, we'll see how they do. Thank you for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Bye.